Hey everybody, we are going to do a play-by-play walkthrough of Florida State, Georgia Tech. I'm going to go as fast as I can here. The goal is to get through both sides, and with with as few plays as there were in this game, I think that's viable. But we'll see. There's a lot to be frustrated by here, so let's go ahead and take a look. So first play, nice little design here. You're in 21 personnel, so you've got two backs. One you've lined up on the outside, which is something we talked about them doing a good bit. One tight end in the H-back here, and then you're going to jet motion, trying to give them some eye candy to get things moving this way. And then you are going to work essentially a little layered flood here, just trying to get this, and then you got your deep probably comeback back here. Can't remember what I saw in the all 22 there, and then you've got a little drag coming across. So rule on this is very simple. If he is open, he gets the ball. There's your number one. You don't go broke making a profit. You take that right now. As soon as you turn on that, ball should be out. He's actually late here, in my view. But ball's out, good location, good first down. That's a good opening play for making your quarterback comfortable. Now, this is something that is going to slow games down. There's going to be more huddling in the current era of college football, and that's going to mean the clock runs a lot more. With the new clock rules, games are going to have fewer plays than they used to, and I think by a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see, given some of this stuff, that they run back on some of those clock rules in the future, because games are going to get so short that people are going to complain. But, okay, we're going to go here. Just basic counter. This is what Florida State does. And one problem right here, Keandre at right guard gets beat so bad, gets pushed back. And really, honestly, right now, this is going to call something forward that I'm pretty frustrated by, looking at Florida State and how they're playing on the offensive line in general. I'm not seeing a whole lot of gaining ground on the first step and then really getting a good, powerful second step in the ground. So this should be gain ground here, and then get that second step in the ground and really get him moving this way, so that you can get across flat here, try to kick out, and if you can't kick out, you log, and then he reads that and either inserts or takes outside. Very simple stuff. This is what they teach. But if you get pushed into the backfield, now you're blocking off your puller. That's going to stop everything up in the backfield. This is how you stop counter. Somebody knocks your guard into the backfield. Actually, good job by Leonard to just get back around here. But the problem is now, instead of blocking the guy that he's supposed to block, which is going to be up in this area, he's going to have to kind of turn and get this guy. And I'm not even sure what Morlock is. Oh, that's not too bad for Morlock. And that's pretty good from Roydell Williams. So main thing here that's different later in the game, play side safeties are coming down hard. They're in a lot of quarters here, and safeties are released to do a lot. Later in the game, they're even blitzing that guy. So once again here, you've got 21 personnel. This time this is Jalen Lucas. You got a little jet. This time you give it to him on the jet. Pretty straightforward. You just hook here. You got a lead blocker, and this has got to hit out here. So you want to hook, and get enough of a piece of him that he's able to get outside. You hook and work your way to the next level, and you're hoping that this is a big play. Yeah, here you go. Hook, make it to the next level, get your lead block, and you should have a one-on-one. What you're setting up here is a one-on-one between that guy and that guy. And you're hoping he's going to be able to make that guy miss. That's pretty good. You get your first down. You're hoping for more, but this is pretty good pursuit from their backside safety. So good play. That's going to hit for longer on occasion. Not too bad. Okay. 1st and 10. Once again, you're in really 21. This is a back. But you see how Mike is using this Norvell is using this as a way to get a flex player on the field. And this is just, let's see, this is just inside zone. No, this is ISO, right? What do you have here? Yeah, so this is insert ISO, it looks like. They didn't really run this the last couple of years, but this is something Norvell's done before. So you're getting vertical displacement here. You're going to pull him and try to get him on a backer and then get him on a backer. And you're inserting both of those guys to get lead blocks here. When you're one-on-ones there, and your back should be able to find the daylight, and all you're trying to do is get him one-on-one with a safety. Thing is, the safety's right here. So actually, I would really prefer it if you did this from a wider split here, because, I mean, you're going to try to get him inside to make that block. So you got a couple choices here. I would prefer to have him split. If he's not going to make this block, then he's useless here. He's just allowing the safety to walk down. This, I think, is a bust here by the wide receiver. So the way this is supposed to work from the wide receiver position is he's supposed to get up in here and get to that second level safety. The way this is supposed to work. Again, I played this position. The way this is supposed to work, he's got to get his eyes to this, and he should be assessing coverage, and his job is to find the most dangerous and block him. What you want to do is, and the most dangerous means the guy who's not responsible for a deep zone. You know who's responsible for deep zones here. Here and here. This is an invert coverage where those guys are your deep zones, and your safeties are here. And I think, let's see if I'm counting this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so you have a deep safety here. So it's actually 3 deep safety, and then your other safeties here. This has to be your most dangerous. His job as a wide receiver has to be to make this block. If he gets in there and makes that block, see how he kind of just trots off? That's a loaf right there. He'd be doing up downs for me. But if he makes that block, oh my goodness. Now Roydell Williams hits this and is one-on-one with a guy coming up from here. You make that guy miss, and this is 20 or 30 yards out the gate. I do not know what he is thinking coming to the middle here. He's got to take most dangerous. Very simple. That's a bust. Oh, so frustrating. All right, so here is just a quarters look. Nope, they're in 2. So you're going to expect a hard corner here, Cloud. Unless they, yeah, that's, so Cloud, push him inside. Yep, cover 2, so he's going to have that. All right, so now this is nice, actually. This is a nice little wrinkle here. All you're trying to do here is cross up the backers. So you're assuming that they're going to essentially have some sort of man responsibility here or whatever on the backs. You're trying to get him. This is just split zone, but from split backs. So he's going to kick out, and he's got split zone here. And by doing it from split backs, which teams don't see as often now, he's responsible for this gap on the split zone, but he's actually working across with the puller, and now they're gap exchanging it, which shouldn't be happening here. And you get a nice little play here. That's really good. They need to come back to this more. I think actually this offensive line is going to be better suited for much of this year running inside zone more as their base than counter. And I know counter has been their thing and it's Alex Atkins' thing, but I think this team is more of an inside zone team with a lot of their personnel than they are a counter team, to be honest. And, you know, they didn't block counter especially well in this game. All right. So this is just an RPO. They're running RPOs on everything here, but what they're doing is they're going hitch and then they're going backside screen. I thought there were a couple times where they could have hit this screen based on their rules, and it's just a numbers count. Now here, this is definitely out because you got Apex player here over him, so that's going to mean these 3 out here get counted with him as 4. So that is clearly a run read on this side. Then you have this side that then becomes a question of your adjuster right here. And if he's down in this area, so if he gets down into here, then that becomes a hitch read. You take, if he's playing off and he's playing down here, you take your free hitch read and you go. Now, frankly, I think Florida State would have been better off in this game running some glance concepts here as this guy started to come downhill. And you'll see right here, on any run action, he's coming downhill and he's playing kind of inside. To me, it's much easier for a corner to defend that short hitch and come up and make the tackle than it is for this guy to kind of stem this and then come inside. And this is one of the easiest throws in football. When you've got a guy coming up, you got a guy win on your one-on-one, and you just throw it right into here at about 12 yards. For a quarterback, that's one of the easiest throws in football. You just square your body, put that on a line, and you let your guy run, and I think you got some big plays. I think they made a mistake by using the default hitch route on this side of the of these RPOs. This is fine. I like this, but this should be right there. And then you just insert behind that. As soon as he starts coming up that hard or coming up from less depth, you just hit that play. So once again here, this is just that little ISO. Nice job by Leonard there. I'm fine with this. Actually, I thought the offensive line played on second watch. I thought the offensive line played better than people think, but they brought a lot of players from depth that caused problems in the running game, and it was just because they didn't respect Florida State's passing game, and frankly, Florida State didn't do anything to cause them to have to respect it, and that shut some things down. And even where they didn't do things well, it was usually the linebacker, or it was usually the linebackers and secondary players that were making the tackles. It was largely because the H-backs, running backs, wide receivers were missing stuff. So I think this is the touchdown. Yeah, so once again, this is just split zone. And in this case, Keandre gets beat across his face here. He should be here, and this play, again, split zone, this play should be kind of coming back this way, but because of the penetration here, Williams does a good job of getting that split action block, and then is a nice explosive from Toafili. Good play. And at this point, this looked like this was the team that you expected to see. Nice, really nice block, by the way, second level here by Brian Courtney. Takes care of business, and that springs the touchdown. Very easy. Feeling really good about that. You get your swinging gate here, which I'm not going to play. Not really interested. It's just a numbers call. We can look at that if anybody really wants me to, but I ran this at the high school that I coached special teams at. It's pretty straightforward. All right, so here you go. Oh, yeah, this is not good. So there's a lot going on here. First of all, the real problem on this primarily is here. I know this guy got a lot of flack here. There's two big problems here, and this is not actually your biggest problem. So number one, it looks to me like this is a bad step right here from 5. So I think you're going to have A gap and A gap here, maybe. Either way, he's a little late. An offensive lineman gets the angle here on him. He might have this gap, but either way, this is a poor step. And if you look at offensive lineman gets up under him, and look at how he now is controlling him with that arm. And then Farmer, this is not good play from a defensive tackle. And this is frankly selfish play. You see him kind of get his helmet up and he's looking here. His job against this is to recognize the step, feel the pressure, get up under the pads, and then your goal on this kind of stretch play, this is outside zone, your goal is basically to meet that pressure and to work down the line of scrimmage in your gap without allowing yourself to get pushed up field in some way, which you can make. You essentially in outside zone you create seams one way or another. You either overflow or you get pushed too far, or you get hooked one way or the other. Those are the three ways that you cause space, that you create seams. So what you have to do is not get yourself turned and hooked. Otherwise, that opens the seam inside of you. So you have to keep working down that way. You can't allow yourself to get worked upfield. Otherwise, that's going to open the seam right behind you. And you can't over pursue this way, because then they're just going to kind of log you, and then again they're going to open that seam. So you have to play disciplined, and the key is to play with pressure. And I know Odell teaches this. You play with pressure, and you just keep pressing into their steps, and you want to kind of your direction as a defensive lineman should be here, and kind of just press things in that direction. Jackson here is too deep. You want to keep pressing. Again, second step should be into here, and then you just kind of work your way down the line of scrimmage. And you're trying to set a hard edge here. Your job is outside. You cannot let him hook you. Hard edge, so that this has to turn back, and then these guys are just all kind of working into it, and you want this guy to have to turn all the way back down the line of scrimmage, and that should come right back down to your secondary player who's going to come down and make the tackle. So that's straightforward stuff. So looks to me like he winds up in this B gap, which is going to mean he's got A gap, and his job is to kind of get across to that A gap, which is moving. So he's got to scrape and be in that position there. And he's inserting here. So you got A gap, B gap, C gap. Set the edge. That's actually pretty good from Marvin Jones. That's good. He's set the edge. Outside arm is free. This is not an option to go outside now. So this turns into a bounce. So that's good. That's the one guy who does things exactly right on this. Lundy is wrong. Lundy needs to be here. Jackson should be here. He's wrong. So Lundy, I don't know what he's thinking. He's got to be here. He needs to be here based on what I'm seeing from Jackson, who should be here, but he's starting to get pushed back. And then, in Farmer. And Farmer kind of gets pushed back into Graham, which prevents him from being able to get into his gap, because he's 2 yards upfield now. And now Graham is kind of getting screwed. And then the other problem here is, as the tight end works his way up, he should be meeting the pressure here. And what you want from your end is to keep his arm free. He has this, but you don't want him working out so fast. You want him to long arm this and compress this as much as possible while potentially playing that. And then all of that should be squeezing this. So you want about that much space. Oh, geez. You want about that much space. Why is it doing that? You want about that much space when he's cutting this back to bring it right to this guy. And he should be coming into he's playing boot until now. Know before you go, but he should be coming up like a bat out of hell now into this space. But this is too big because he's allowed himself to get kind of pushed out too much. He's gotten pushed upfield too much. He should be kind of down in here, but problems are here, here, and then back here. Where is the safety? That should be Shaheem Brown getting up there much earlier. All right. That was a lot on that play. And they do this a ton. They're going to run a ton of jet. That's what we talked about in the preview. They're going to run a ton of jet. They're going to give you all sorts of eye candy. I don't see a whole lot of problems up front here. Okay, a couple problems here. Number one is you've got a small slot receiver who's able to kind of do what he wants with the backer. Backer kind of fights through it. That's okay. But this is soft right here. This is AZ. One thing we got from Renardo Green this last year, and it's one of the reasons he went early in the NFL draft, is when guys came up to block him last year, he had a kind of Tay Cody kind of approach. He'd get those shoulders down, work his way right through this guy, and work his way into the back. So your job is contain, but your job is violent contain. You play contain through this guy. Play contain through this guy, force him either to get tackled, right now, or force him right back into your pursuit. Violent. Right through his outside shoulder. Keep your outside shoulder clean. Bam. And instead, that's soft. Playing on your heels. This doesn't get turned back in, and this goes for 5 more yards because of that soft play. Okay. Screen. Okay, this is bad from Omar Graham. So he recognizes screen. That's fine. But his job, first of all, he knows contain is right here. His job is not contain. His job is alley. So his job is to hit here and essentially to work his way through as I just mentioned previously, to work his way through the blocker right here. Take him out right. Essentially, you want to take him out low, right through the hips. Aim at that front hip and work from the front hip right through the. So put that foot in the ground, near leg, near shoulder, right through that front hip. Cause that pile, and then you either force him to your contain, which then is going to force him out of bounds, or you cause a pile here, and you work him to your buddies who are coming right here. But this is a selfish play. He's trying to make the tackle, running around a block, and gets pushed into the ground. And now your safety is a little bit late and has to contend with a guy who's a free blocker. It's a nice backside block that turns into a pancake. And now you're off to the races. And this should have been cause a pile. He can't now cut it inside. He's now reduced to this with a pursuer, with alley pursuit here. If he plays this correctly, this is maybe a 2-3 yard gain. Instead, it's the long play of the game. Okay, so the pulling guard here falls down, and the footing on this field, I don't know what the deal is with American football teams going over to soccer pitches and not being able to keep their footing, but at some point, you got to figure out the right cleats for these fields. A lot of guys losing their footing in this game. Your guard falls down. Marvin Jones just kind of covers him. Lundy is here. He should be playing the outside shoulder here because he's got this gap. He should be coming through the outside shoulder and forcing this back in, but he's in the wrong spot. Gets reached. Really nice block by 85 there. More physical. And then this is absolutely horrible from Brown. And Brown is what I saw a lot of from 22 was what we saw from Kevin Noles last year with a safety who really is a corner, and they really need to reassess who's playing that position against a team that's going to play power football. That's not good. And for all the cat and mouse stuff they do in practice, all that stuff, working on coming through the near hip and everything, at some point they're going to have to live tackle a little bit more because this is yikes. And a few of those guys, I'd mentioned a couple of those guys to a couple people, off air, off the record, that I was not comfortable with with the angles they were taking in the cat and mouse. And a couple of those guys, here's one of them, took some terrible angles in tackling. Another was Earl Little, who was surprisingly bad in those repeatedly and kind of got away with it a lot of times. Okay, so this is fine from your defensive line. Your tackles are fine. Not bad from Marvin Jones. Not even really trying to block this side. What are your backers doing? Okay, so you've got pullers. Your backers should be trying to get here and here with a quickness. And you've got, pitch taken care of there. backers are just late and not physical. And then you've got a safety who's not physical. And then they put this guy in. And now you're going B gap, and you're relying on A gap for your two backers, and neither of them hits the A gap. What is he doing? You get the double team. This has got to be here and here right now. Get downhill, and this should be an absolute head-hunting collision at about the 2-yard line going backwards. But he's nowhere in the screen. I'm not sure. So they're following this, but he should have that. That's right here. He's got contained. This should not be backers at all. He should be coming straight downhill into the A gap that is designed for him. You got 1, 2 responsible for that. Come straight downhill right there. The backers just not doing their job. This is selfish football right here. This is poor eye discipline, not doing your job. That's really bad. All right. Nice little end around here off counter action, and you're going to get Morlock gets tripped. I mean, you couldn't make some of this stuff up. If Morlock is able to get out here without getting tripped by Roydell Williams working his way through and get onto this, you got one of the fastest players on your team in a one-on-one to the sideline against this guy and a chance to make a play. And instead, he's got to break a couple tackles just to get, 3 or 5 yards. If Morlock's able to get out there without getting tripped up, that play may hit for 60. But no. Okay, this one's a pretty simple one. The way this works, they're in a quarters concept, and all they're doing here, you can't see it here, but this is a big boy post, and you're going to have a corner route behind it, and then you're going to have the little flat route or this little scat route out here. The way that this is going to work against quarters is it's a high-low in 2 different directions. So your post, corner, here. And the way you're reading this is if the post, so normally in quarters, the post is going to have, the outside guy is going to kind of run with the post on the outside and then pass that off to the inside safety, who should stay over the top of that. And then he should be then trying to find work and peel off if he sees a second inside release. They're going to have to communicate, because he's either going to take a second vertical and he's going to have to stay with the over the top, or he's going to take the inside vertical as it becomes an inside vertical, and then he just kind of peels off. But this is designed to take advantage of that. So you're going to get that and that and that. And if the flat defender stays out here, it's basically just a smash concept against the flat defender, right? So working out, if he takes that, you take the big boy post. If he take this, then you're working off of him, and you're going to take your corner. If he runs with the flat, that's probably what's most likely to come open. And then if he starts to get depth, then you just take this. Simple. Problem is, the way this should go is your inside coverage player here should not be able to force you inside. This needs to be a little stutter at the inside leverage and work your way over the top and then there, and it should be out quickly. So here and then there. And instead, he takes the inside route, and now that's slow, and DJ starts to feel the timing off. Now, he's open, actually, once he clears it. He could reset and throw this right now, but he doesn't. This is one that, Jameis Winston makes this throw. Your elites make that throw. You don't expect most quarterbacks to make that throw. He needed to be here and on his way out already. It's just a bad route by Morlock. This is pretty simple. So they're bringing a lot of different pressures on 3rd and 5, and longer. And they're stacking the box and just playing man-to-man. So you just trust that your guy's a better athlete than this guy. This is a concept they call Miami, and it's designed to get one of your best athletes right here. You get one-on-one, and he can kind of do whatever he wants and get across the field. This becomes one-on-one. All you're doing against what you got here, you identify who's got him, and you just want to get your eyes over here to get him, to get this guy or whoever is going to be dropping. And I think it's that guy. Yeah, it's going to be that guy. Just make sure he's not undercutting here. So you look at him and then immediately get your eyes right here and get this to him. You want to get it in front of him so he can run. And if you put this is one of the easiest throws in football. This is one you should be able to just fire a little bit. If you put this right here, he's still running. This is 60 yards. It might score. And instead, really good play by Toafili just to get what he does. But that's the difference between this being a touchdown drive and not. Little, again, jet off of counter action. Feel pretty good about that. Now you're running more jet again. The boot. This is well set up. Again, all you're trying to do is work him across with the jet, keep him a little bit occupied, work him with your boot action, and then you get your back out in the flat for something, and it should be one-on-one with him with somebody trailing him. It's nice. I mean, it's raining a little bit. You'd like this ball to be out here just a little bit so that he can just kind of run through it and turn. But they rep this all the time, and they've done wet ball stuff. Hits him in the face mask. This is a turning point in this game, because if he catches this and then goes up and gets a first down, you're in position to make something of this drive. But, okay, this isn't... More counter. Feels like they're wasting their time with counter. Everybody knows that they're going to run the heck out of it. And everybody spills it on him now, and they don't do a good job. If this is spilled, he just needs to log him inside. He needs to read this, come outside here, and then this bounce right here, and this should turn into nice big plays. It's what Dalvin Cook made his living on, is that play. Instead, well, he's going to follow his lead through here. This is nice, actually, from Richie Leonard. And, you know, Mo Smith, if he gets here, it's not bad. Like to see Darius finish that. Like to see Washington finish this block. If that's finished, I mean, honestly, this should be out the gate anyway. If this is Benson from last year, this scores. He didn't see this good of blocking on counter very often, but basically squeeze this, and then you get that. That should be out. That should be 15, 20 yards, and he just doesn't break the tackle. I mean, it's a little soft from Washington. Backer does kind of get in there on him, but this should be one where he's able to run through that with more power and get himself going right there. He's a little late on the break, and then just not enough power. I'll tell you, Williams did not really impress me in this game that much. It's just split zone. What I don't like is the footwork on split zone. Watch their footwork. Maybe we'll get a chance to compare this with something from Georgia Tech later. But see their bucket stepping and just kind of sliding and then catching. And I just don't like that kind of footwork on inside zone. I believe in getting that first step forward and second step up under the pads and get power moving a little bit. I do not like this. I mean, they're just catching. And they're going to call that hold on Keandre. I'm not real thrilled with that. I get why they call it, but it's one where you know he's in position and you have plenty of space. So now you get your 4th and 4. Okay, this was actually really nice from Georgia Tech. They just play a trap here. So looks like they're just playing man with a rat. right? So you got 1, 2, 3 playing over 1, 2, 3. Here's your rat who's going to carry any inside vertical. And then you got 2 over 2 here. So they know Florida State's going to tend to run this on fourth down. They've run it a bunch. And FSU is assuming that this is basically a man type concept or a quarters concept where he's going to work this way. And instead, they run a trap, so he's going to cloud this, and he's actually going to pick up any inside route. So this is, they're banjoing it really, but that's really nice. Pass that off, and then he knows that that's going to turn into a flat route, comes up and makes the tackle. That's a great tackle in that context. It's a good play by both teams, but better by Georgia Tech. And frankly, they outcoached Florida State on that. They got exactly what they wanted. Okay, one of the few times that an edge was set in this game, and it's Nicholson here on the edge who wins. Turner a little bit on the edge. Those two win on the edge, and you get a tackle for loss. And, honestly, I look at this, and there are 3 players that need to play a lot more, and that's 95, 13, and 20 on this play that all do their things right. So look at the difference between what 95 does here, getting across the face of his blocker, versus what 5 did earlier. So Farmer was here and going this way. This is right on the same play, getting upfield. He's gotten up under the pads of the offensive lineman, and he's getting into the backfield. That's really good from your 3 technique and from your outside backer. Note here, too, that they're in a 3-backer set. They're not in nickel. So there's your Sam backer. 1, 2, 3 backers. So they've gone big here. I do not know what Cam Riley is doing. This is not good. Just catching a block on the backside. Yikes. Yeah, that's not good. For 235 pounds, that's playing like you're a safety or something. You need to be hitting this right up in here. Get in your gap. His gap should be right there, and he needs to be hitting that hard. That's only reason that doesn't pop nicely is because Lolohea plays it exactly right. Okay, this is really good from Noles, who is clearly the best nickel on this team right now. Little is not ready. But this is excellent. This is what I was talking about earlier. You work through your blockers outside, keep that outside free. All you're trying to do is compress this, and you work to make the tackle through the blocker. This is not an option now because you're here. You've worked him to your help, and you have 1, 2, 3 from all different angles along with pursuit. That's good defense, and it's because this guy was unselfish. It's a good stop because of Noles being unselfish. So you finally get a 3rd and long opportunity, and you get some pass rush. Still can't make a tackle. I don't know why guys are lunging and going down to the ground here, but you should just be working through that near hip, dictate to him where he's going to go, and then drive through the hip. It's what they work on in practice with that cat and mouse all the time. I bet you in closed practices coming up, they're going to be doing cat and mouse, and they're going to have to actually tackle. Should have been doing it in camp. Okay. A nice little screen set up here. Yeah, I forgot about this. So this is based off of a lot of their little split zone type counter action, and then you get your nice tight end screen. Could have been better blocking here on the outside. Actually, he puts him on the ground, and then he's talking to him, talking smack. And if he had just stayed with him, what you want to see is put him on the ground and then jump on him. Keep him on the ground. Keep that pancake. And if he does that, he'd probably get another 5 yards. Stop yapping. Counter again, and this is this Redwell? No, this is just a run blitz. This is gonna happen once in a while when you run a lot of counter. Teams will run blitz that Mike backer, and he's gonna come right through that A gap when he sees the center turn back. And the way this is gonna work is the front side guard just has to get here. And the problem is he is coming so fast that by the time the guard, who's generally gonna bump and help this front side tackle a little bit here, he's gonna bump him and then work his way up. By the time he gets done with that bump, this guy's already through. It's a run through. So this is a run blitz expecting counter, and they got exactly what they wanted, and they got the tackle for loss. So now second quarter. See, again, I do not like the footwork on this zone. Look at this. There's not a whole lot of aggression at the line of scrimmage. I would just like to see a lot more physicality and aggression. Get some vertical displacement on some of these. If you're going to run inside zone, if you're going to run counter, if you're going to run, outside zone a little bit less, but if you're going to run inside zone and counter, you got to have guys getting steps forward. There's a lot of sidestepping here. Robert Scott gives up a bad pressure here. Gives a soft inside shoulder. So this is one where you should never throw your inside hand first. And you see how his shoulders are kind of here. This is just a bad set. What you've got to do is you've got to get position where you keep your shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage as long as you can, and you get your depth of pressure, or your depth of set here enough where if he does want to come inside, your shoulders are square, and then you can just wall him, and you eventually just wall him right into where you want him to go. If you turn your shoulders to the sideline, now you've presented what's called a soft shoulder on that inside. And if you shoot your inside hand, now he can knock that inside hand down and work his way inside you, and you've really got nothing left because you don't have any leverage through that inside leg. So the inside leg, if you shoot that inside arm here, as soon as he pushes that away, you've got nothing left to fight with. And if you try to push that outside arm in, he's just got the angle. This is just bad technique. And I'm not real thrilled with some of the technique I'm seeing from the offensive line here. So shoulders out of whack. I do not believe in shooting the inside hand first. If you've got an inside move, you've got to shoot outside hand against an inside move so that if he punches that, now you counter back with your inside. And they got bailed out by the face mask there. It was a legit call, but they got lucky. Yeah, see this soft shoulder right there. And if you get that rip, you have no power through that inside if you get in that position. Nice little screen out of counter, and they're pushing so hard on counter. You got 5 guys back here. This has got to go for longer than it did. And this is just a testament to Georgia Tech's defense rallying to the football. Now, that's not a bad block here. You get that one. But the one that's missed is right here. 48's got to make this play. It's a great job by the secondary of Georgia Tech not allowing that to be a touchdown. It was a great call by Norvell, actually. So here's this is the same RPO they've kind of been running. And you get your screen. And see, that's 2 screens in a row here. And I feel like sometimes it's like, okay, well, we need to hit him with the screen. And then you hit him with one and it succeeds. And then let's hit another one. Well, they just were reminded not to get upfield too quickly. I would have liked to maybe see them actually run it or go play action downfield on that last one. Okay, so you get Holmes the ball here. And once again, I don't like this. I mean, again, this is just pitter patter in place on this inside zone, and I'm not seeing any. I want to see this foot step right here, 6-inch first step, then 6-inch second step, and get up under for inside zone. But they're just kind of playing at the line of scrimmage. Not a big fan of that. What are they doing on counter? So I don't know why. I mean, for a team that practices counter as much as they do, these guys are not doing a very good job as pullers. So identify the first. That's your job. If you got to log him, then he needs to come off and take the next guy. You got two guys on one. You get the back who should be shooting through the inside leg here. And then you should have the second guy here up on this backer. This should be an automatic first down. I don't know what the deal is with this. They're just making it easy on teams. And if you can't block it better than that, you got to just start running inside zone as your base and just start ignoring your start running counter less. Grady Kelly siding at defensive tackle. Look, this is fine from most of the defensive line. That's actually fine from Omar Graham here. He recognizes the counter. I mean, they're running the same stuff Florida State runs. Jet, counter. Omar Graham hits this right, forces it to come inside here. It's not bad from Marvin Jones. The puller gets to Jones. Okay, that's where you kind of get lost. But he forces it in. If Jones doesn't get pushed around here, this is nothing. Jones kind of gets mauled there. One team's getting correct reads on this and, doing it correctly even when there's not a lot of space, and the other one's not. And one team is getting yards after contact and the other is not. Okay, what happened here? Oh yeah, this is the little jet motion that they have here once again. Earl Little is the nickel here, and he's in trail. Now, unless you're worried that this is going to be like a tap pass, which you should have some help on, there's no reason that you're not just playing in this trail position. You're in no hurry to get out here, because the way they're going to work is if he goes outside, you just trade off. See, that's Fentrell Cypress. He's already out here. So now you should be looking for whoever's coming inside, because if one goes outside, the other's either going vertical, at which point you wall it, or somebody's coming inside, in which case you just, kind of present your little jam and then run with it. But instead, I don't know what he's looking at. Eye discipline is just terrible here. And this is mesh. So the guy that he's responsible for is wide open. My Lord. So you give up an easy 3rd and 5 just because of poor eye discipline. Another counter. It's okay here. I mean, you're going to get the double team. You just got to hold up as much as you can, make a pile. It does okay there. It's really a triple team. Cam Riley has to be downhill right now. What is he looking at? You got your puller. That's got to be absolutely punching through into this space right now. This should be into the inside leg to spill this, and AZ should be the one making the tackle. But Riley should be coming downhill hard here. So he should be here. He should be coming straight downhill hard, and then he should be the one making the tackle. What in the world? And that's still soft. But again, the angles are all wrong, because he's got the contain here, and now he's stepping in and playing, you know, high man, and he gets dragged. And this is just one team with bad eyes. Nice run here. But again, this is counter, and this is how it's supposed to be done. Nice kick out block. This is Omar Graham. And Graham should be... Florida State pretty much always spills this. He's playing this like he's boxing it. So he's taking the kick out, and then you're getting this. Cam Riley, once again, what are you doing, son? This should be a run through. As soon as you see this guard disappear, given his gap, that should be a run through. Right now. Make this guard come and get you. And then that's going to free up your front side more. What is he looking at? That's got to be right there. He should be making a tackle for loss. I mean, he should be right here right now. And then he should be in the backfield right now, potentially making a tackle for loss. Graham's okay. Safety is late and coming and tiptoeing. Is that Brown again? Yeah, that's Brown. And then he gets dominated, gets pancaked, and jeez, so bad. Okay, so this is the same little motion. Going to get inside. Only this time, instead of mesh, they're going to run mesh and go, essentially. And Earl Little apparently is not fast. Now, granted, this guy runs 10.55 in the 100 meters. So, you know, runs pretty well. But the other thing is, what in the world is D. Brown doing here? He's a single safety. You see there's one vertical. Your job is to be deeper than the deepest here, over the top. What are you doing? I mean, that should have been a touchdown. Okay, so Sione does the right thing here. This is what we should be seeing from 11 and 7 every time. Hammer this inside leg, play with physicality. You're going to work your way over the top here. FSU's playing with a light box here. And this has got to be safety coming down into this. That's his job. So essentially, he's your extra. He's your +1 because you decided to go with an extra here. And a lot of guys just kept underestimating the speed here. Get a first down out of that. Little stretch here. Man, they did a great job blocking on the edge. And some of that's just Florida State not being real physical on the edge, but that's actually not bad. From 20. He keeps impressing me. He did not play enough in this game. Okay, 9 got clowned on this rep, but he's not actually the problem. There's several problems here. So once again, gap control here. He's got edge. He sets the firm edge. He's going to have inside here. 9 is going to be in this B gap. There's your A gap. There's your B gap. He's got your C, or he's got your A gap on this side. He should be here, and then you've got kind of cleanup right here. So he's your secondary backside defender. Okay, so he's actually A gap here, and he's got B gap. Is that right? Yes. So his job is to step up and take this. And he's got to get to this gap. So he's actually in his gap. He's actually taking the correct gap. Now, they end up exchanging because Turner kind of gets crossed up. So he's trying to get to the outside to make up for his teammate. That's actually not bad from 9. Now, granted, he gets kind of turned and the back kind of spins around. That's okay. And he loses him. That's not his fault. The real problem, the biggest problem right here is this guy. What is Cam Riley doing? So he should be here. Cam Riley is either here or here. But bottom line is he's got cutback. Now, he should never be getting cut from this angle. Get your hands down. I know Odell teaches this. Get your hands down. That's lazy eyes, lazy feet, pirouettes, and takes away. So Lolahea is right. So he gets cut and then takes out his own guy. So that's basically two bad things. He is just looking over here, whatever he's doing. His job is to play this inside out right here. So as the back hits this and kind of comes out this side, Riley's over here. That should be 9. 18 should be playing right here and finishing right there. This should be 18 right there. That's why that turned into something bad. Okay. So you're finally in position. You got your allegedly all-conference safety coming up to make a tackle here in the backfield. You got a 6'5", 235-pound backer getting his tail kicked by a tight end. You can't make a tackle in the backfield. My goodness. I mean, yeah, it's only a couple yards, but it's just kind of symbolic of the rest of the game. Now, notice here. Here you've got their inside zone. Watch their first step. They're gaining an extra 6. I mean, it's small difference, but look at the difference in getting 4 inches versus 6 inches, or 6 inches versus, or 8 inches versus 2 inches, or 6 inches versus 2 inches. They're just getting a little more vertical displacement. That's not bad actually from Jackson and Farmer. It's okay from 7. Can live with what you saw here. Okay, that's just infuriating. Okay, I blame primarily Pat Payton for this. This is soft from Payton. He recognizes that this is a kick out. His job is to go inside shoulder here and to hit this with so much force that you knock this guy back. Instead, he lets himself get kicked out. Now this turns into a nice angle. Quarterback comes through. That's soft. You know what else is soft? Whatever Cam Riley is doing here. That's soft. Low man wins. Now you got safety coming up. That's a minus from 11 and a minus from 18. Cam Riley, look, Riley's not showing me a whole lot of reason that he should be playing. I think, you roll with Nicholson there as your second backer. Neither Omar Graham nor Cam Riley have done anything to show me that they should be on the field. Well, I don't know what this is in terms of these guys not being able to figure out how to make a tackle without throwing themselves on the ground, but it's just one team wants it more than the other here. All right. So what am I at? I'm at 59 minutes already. I thought this would go a little faster than this, but that's all right. This is actually fine, but this is just really poor blocking on the outside here from Benson. And this is something that I mentioned in the preview. You wonder how much the lack of the blocking from the big receivers that FSU had last year is going to impact things. Well, there we saw where it does. Compare this execution on counter to what we just saw. What? So first of all, you get a kick out here. That's fine. Now you're here. Hit that inside, and you should be accelerating. But he's impatient here a little bit. I don't know why he's getting so impatient. But there's actually room to kind of do something, but you get 2 yards and you don't break any tackles. There's no even falling forward. So I think what they were imagining here was to motion to this right here, but they got pressure, and this is not from the offensive line. Offensive line actually does all right here. That's a good play by DJU. There's not a whole lot there. Okay, so this is the same little RPO they've been running. Once again, you get this little hitch. You get the screen here. To me, this is a misread from DJU where he's enough in the box that I count this as a 2/3, because now you can, kind of work your way to, probably 2. Actually, the way they do it, you're going to go 2, 3, and then you're going to kind of get this. I might prefer to go to the edge here on the screen. But again, I don't actually like this hitch as your backside on this. I'm a big fan of the glance when you got faster receivers, especially partly because this guy becomes a problem for the hitch pretty quickly. He can kind of muddy this and play in here and still play your run and then potentially get under this for a pick 6. Now, because your guy can really rip it, he can get that out there and he locates it well. That's a good throw. But if this guy's going to play here, I want to be able to hit this. Get that right there inside. Have him stem it a little bit and then right there. That was what I wanted all game, was you've got those one-on-ones. Let him have it. Get those in-breaking routes against one-on-ones. So much harder to cover. Okay, not bad from the offensive line. Plenty of protection here. And this is a misread from DJ. So this is something they clearly identified, something similar to what North Carolina ran against Georgia Tech last year. You got like a deep over, or actually kind of a deep opposite side go with a dagger concept, basic dig on this side. And all you're doing is you're high-lowing this. If they're going to play that, if the corner's going to stay outside, then you're just high-lowing whatever safety is going to be responsible here. The safety plays over the top of the post, you take the dig. The safety jumps the dig, then you throw that behind him to the front, to the opposite pylon. This right here, and you'll see right there, this is, when he throws this basic is wide open. It's the wrong throw. No, he gets bailed out with a 15-yard penalty, which is a good penalty. But even there, the throw is not a good throw, is not the right throw. Now, there is no uncatchable rule in college, so despite what a lot of commentators would say. Once again, here you've just got essentially a stick concept on the outside. And that is a big-time throw. I mean, he let that rip. And, if I'm Mike Norvell, I'm actually feeling pretty comfortable with DJU in the quick game, and I would have wanted to see a little bit more of that in the second half early. I think he's got to get this out just a little earlier, but that's still a big-time throw. Got to make the catch. 9 seconds. They clearly didn't want to give the ball back to Georgia Tech at the end of the half, but I do think they mismanaged the end of the first half clockwise. Great kick. All right, second half. The more things are in the second half, the more they stay the same. So they're slanting here, so that takes you out of your normal person who's the spiller. But this is one where if you got two options here if you're Shaheem Brown. One is you recognize the run action and you come downhill like a missile and you try to take the legs out while he's taking the handoff. That's what you kind of prefer him to do here. If you're not going to do that, then you need to blow this up by taking on a lead blocker. Yeah, it's no fun, but that's your job. Don't be soft. And instead, he does neither, lets himself get kicked out. That allows the lead blocker to take on Lundy, who's got a gap exchange here. And then you're out the gate. And it's just because, again, I think he ends up taking neither of his good options. You get a good lead block, nice physical lead block against your backer. Kind of bear hugs that. I think you probably should call a hold there. But they didn't call that all game, so on either side. But that's what you get out of that. All right, now you're going to get quarterback counter. Once again, that's just soft from Pat Payton. Kind of gets turned inside. If you're going to spill it, you need to spill it with purpose. And they do, again, a good job of not getting stuck inside like Florida State's second guy. He gets outside, gets to second-level player, and now the quarterback runs this correctly. Gets an extra yard. That's 5 yards. 4 yards on first down. There's that invert quarterback power. Sort of bash quarterback power. Really nice play by Kevin Noles. Kevin Noles was one of the best players in this game, in my opinion. His field goal. Same play as the first half. Get it out there. Read number one. Won't go broke making a profit. What are you doing? And then late over the middle. I mean, he's there, but you don't make that throw. You're a fifth-year player. I have no idea what you're thinking. Or fourth year. Third and 7. And they're doing a good job of rushing. So they're putting 4 to this side of the center. Notice you got 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to have a fourth. And then they're going to have 2 to this side. So they're essentially overloading. Now, FSU's got the back end, and they kind of get screwed up on this twist. If they don't screw up this twist, they got a chance of this turning into better. But I think that's pretty good pickup from Florida State. And that's DJ's best throw of the day. Nice job just letting it rip and hitting your location on the back shoulder. Running the same shot play again. And this is one where you got a chance. The basics actually open here again. So he could have hit this because it did pop, sort of layer it behind the backers. But because they're playing a cover 3 here, you can just throw it to the front pylon as this guy separates from the inside safety. He's over top of the outside safety here. You just throw it over here and you hang it up there and you just let him go get it. Because these guys, neither of them has any leverage on you. And I don't know why you try to throw that on a rope. You should just be putting that up in the air and letting your guy have a chance to go get it. There's nothing fancy there. He's just wide open. You missed it. That's a second shot just missed. Okay, that's fine from Richie Leonard. Finally got a correct read from the second guy. So this is Courtney there. Gets a piece of him, but not real great. And his guy ends up making the tackle. And once again, you don't do anything after you get attached to by the tackler. There's nothing. Oh, this was bad. So, yeah, this I think was more of a protection thing. Looking at how they've got this. So Georgia Tech is bringing the house along with the boat and the kitchen sink and everything else. And they got a green dog on here too. So the way they're lining up, they're in straight man. There is no safety that they're keeping deep. They are bringing let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're bringing 6. All right. And you're releasing 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're keeping your 5, 6. So you have to identify how you want to take this. Now, the trick is, where do you identify the mic? And this is something that in Norvell's offense, you have to decide whether or not it's going to be right side's going to be 3 offensive linemen or left side is going to be 3 offensive linemen. Essentially, which direction does the center turn? So what they did here is they identified this as a center turns left. So essentially, they're identifying this as Mike is here. So that means you identify turn, turn, turn. So those are the 3 that you're going to pick up here. And then the back is going to work from here to here. Now, if that's what you're going to do, and you've got an additional guy on the outside here, and you know that these are where your linemen are going to be responsible on this side, DJ should have flipped the back. So the back should be over here so that he can work up to up. Because if he comes, this is crossing up in front of you. And as a quarterback, you got to know it's going to be more advantageous to have him kind of work his way up. So you're going to go here, here, and then if he comes, he's going to have to take him. So flip him, knowing that your line is going to turn to the left. So, and you can see this. He checks, watch his eyes. He should be checking here. And now he's going to get back to that side. So snaps a little bit low and left. Good catch. And then he's working across. I just think it's more comfortable if you flip him in their offense, the way that they do this. He should be flipped, knowing where the protection is. The other thing here is 1, 2, 3. I don't think he gets... So that first step, well, I would say he didn't get enough depth, but I think he does. I do think this should not be... If he's going to throw this bench, it's what I call a bench route. So it's just a 6-step out. And the thing is, you've got a corner route behind it here. The corner. This actually turns into a wide open play, but you can't really count on that. And that's a secondary read. So, I mean, this isn't Madden. You know, based on alignment, that these guys are in man. And if you get this guy coming, you're going to get this free. So this should be 1, 2, 3, rhythm out. There should never be a hitch on a bench route. It's 1, 2, 3, get the ball out. And it's a rhythm 3. So 1, 2, 3, hitch, that's going to be late. And then once it's late, that's going to be out of bounds. So the real issue here, 2 things to me. You have back should be over here so that he can handle anything from this side more easily. So he's going to be able to come from here to here. And secondly, the footwork should be 1, 2, 3 out right away, because you know your first read is here. And, you know, if he jumps it, then you airmail it intentionally. But if he plays it like he does here, right now, you know you've got this. Get that out. That ball should be out now. Throw it right now and throw it to right there. And that's a completion and a first down. But instead, I don't know what he's waiting on. Frustrating. All right, bad punt. Okay, Lundy finally shoots this. Other thing here, watch Lolahea. Nice physical play. You're going to spill this. Take that on. Not bad, not bad. Getting 2 guys on you. I can handle that from Lolahea. Lolahea needs to play more. Still not quite delivering the blow as much as I'd like to see, but better than some of the others. Nice job from Lundy. Finally get a passing down And Farmer gets a nice pass rush. Create a negative situation for the quarterback. Once again here, offensive line wins. He even brought a blitz, but didn't matter. Secondary is as good as advertised against the pass. I think that much is obvious. That gives you some positives moving forward. Is that, you at least know your secondary is probably as good as advertised against the pass. It's just against the run, you're going to have problems until you fix a few things. Okay, what is this? It's just outside zone. It's not bad. Not worth spending enough time on. Hey, they finally did it right on the pull. Except for Morlock still kind of misses the block, and you wind up with not much. Got lit up there. And then you get the uncalled targeting. Guarantee you, DJ, you felt that one. Where's the leakage here? Oh, Mo got thrown. Maurice Smith. Yeah. This is a game-changing play here. This has got to be easy. You got your play action. Now, the thing I don't understand here, you got a guy that runs 10-6. Right now, he's even, he's leaving. You see this, you know the situation where they've got safety that's not going to be over there. That ball, when you hit right now, it should be gone there. So I think he felt like this guy was going to hit the ball, and he reset to try to avoid getting his arm hit. And that actually kind of forced him to press on this throw a little bit and get him to throw out of bounds. But to me, if he throws this on time, and your graduate level quarterback is going to recognize the pressure here and is actually, and this is something you can see Drake May do a lot in his in last year at North Carolina, is those last couple steps you actually work back this way just to split just a tiny bit to provide yourself a little extra space from which to throw, and then you get it out. And again, you got to redline this. This ball can be no further out than right here, because you've got a guy, he's going to create either a pass interference or that's going to be a touchdown, and instead you give him no shot because you throw it out of bounds. It's just so infuriating. I would be furious if I were Benson. I hated it when I got overthrown like that, when I was past the defensive back, and it happened more than it should have, partly because I was slow. Great hit from 33. I think he's somebody maybe give an opportunity to play some outside corner or something, because he apparently wants to play physical football, which I'm not sure everybody on your team does. And this is bad here. Now, first of all, you can see here, he's trying to here, it looks like, or he's, maybe here in the last thing, he's getting something from a coach, and, the speaker's getting cut off right now. So I think there's miscommunication here, but he's got man-to-man responsibility here. He's also trying to step up against the counter, and he had just stepped up hard to make a play in the backfield. Well, their guys had a counter for that. When he starts doing this, try to get this outside and get nosy, and now, well, he's just not the fastest guy in the world. So, nice play. Just got out-coached. Good play here by 7. And actually give 95 and 6 their due. And this is the defensive tackle's 8 on this. Watch this. That's what you're expecting from Darrell Jackson. It might be the only play he made all game, but that's pretty good. And by the way, that's a terrible play by one that could, with a receiver that lands on his feet, that turns into a touchdown because he chose not to bring his arms. 3-4 yards. And once again, this is just awful angles and tackling. Get over the top. Dictate where you want him to go. Don't overrun it. Force him this way and then tackle through that inside hip. But do not overrun it and force yourself into a bad spot. It's just not good enough. Little's pretty disappointing in this game. It was a little bit of what I'd feared based on what I'd seen of him to date, but okay, this is pretty good. Now Little actually gets a pressure here. Nice job to fight through. But they've got these in place all the time. And you have some kind of communication here, but he needs to be out with his where he knows he needs to be earlier. It's just too easy. On a play you got a lot of pressure, that's too easy. And then this is the game. This to me is the play that if you make this play, this game's over. Lolahea misses it. Riley then blocks Riley from getting it. And then Lundy tries to selfishly scoop this up instead of just falling on the football the way you're taught. You're taught to slide into that and circle up on it and curl up on it in the fetal position. That's bad football from Lundy. And instead they get the football and then they get a conversion. This is the ball game, y'all. First of all, that's a great rush by Marvin Jones Jr. on one of the few plays he got an opportunity to rush, and that's a good offensive tackle. But this is equally good by the quarterback, who finds it's a tough route to cover for your slot. You're counting on Rush to make that harder, and quarterback made the one throw he needed to make all game right there. Defensive line here is actually starting to hold up as the game goes on, but you're still, even on a play where your defensive line does what they're doing, they still get 5 yards because they're falling forward. And here you get this nice little kind of Statue of Liberty quarterback draw. And this is where what they're trying to do is just to split your tackles so that the quarterback has a shot up against your man coverage here. And you've got two safeties in quarters here as your match, man match underneath. And he's got to be the one to come up. And essentially what he's got to do is he's got to absolutely obliterate this center. And on the one hand, it sounds like a bad idea to have a 195-pound guy take on a 300-pound guy, but you go right through his thigh pads as hard as you can go right there and force him back into the pursuit. But instead, once again, there's no dictating. It's just kind of letting the offense come to you. And instead of blowing this up right here and working him back into your pursuit, just kind of let it come to you, and it's another 15 yards you give up. Once again, soft on the inside. I don't know what 9 is doing there, but that's not good. Some poor blocking on the backside here. There's a lot of free guys. So this is a final drive for Florida State. Once again, little backside. Yeah, good throw. Maybe get it out a little earlier. I mean, it should be out now, so your guy has a little more time to get it upfield. But still does a good job of doing that. Could have been probably another 10 or 15 yards if you get it to him earlier on that little pivot route. This is another example of you've got. That's okay on the offensive line, although this is 5 stop and 5 essentially, And you'd like to see maybe that guard getting up to the second level here. But you get your one-on-one, a linebacker against a back, and the linebacker just flat out wins. Back goes 0 yards after contact. Once again, 0 yards after contact. We'll sprint out here. This is a really nice throw, by the way. So they're just running kind of a stick route to the bottom. One-on-one. You get what you want. Nice job of blocking this, knowing that they're going to want to bring pressure. They just kind of seal it inside. Nice job by Roydell Williams. I hate patting the football, long release, dropping that down, but throws a nice ball, and that's a good catch, good strong catch by Benson. Oh, this was bad. This was, again, that same. They must have really liked what they saw on how Georgia Tech was likely to defend this. This is that same play that they're running previously. Actually, they're going to run. If you look at the all-22, he's going to take a corner. He's got the go, and then he's got that basic again. And the basic is wide open here. You can see it right there. Just take the free basic. You got a guy that can fly there. And I don't like the feet in the pocket. This is something that I think is actually causing DJ problems. Watch his feet. Up, down, up, down, up, down. There's almost a happy feet. I want to see him in rhythm. 1, 2, 3. Set. Keep your cleats in the ground. You should never be bouncing on your toes here. Cleats in the ground. You want your back cleats in the ground especially. Watch Tom Brady, peak Tom Brady. You never see him pitter-patter with happy feet in the pocket. It's going to lead to bad accuracy. You're not going to be prepared to throw at the right moment. You want to be in a position where you just kind of move and you shuffle step to the right spot when you have your so shuffle. Don't bounce, never bounce. You want to have your hips low, and the bouncing in the pocket's going to cause problems. And that concerns me for the rest of the year. Never should be bouncing in the pocket. Now there he doesn't bounce. So he resets, feet are in the ground, and then delivers a good ball. And this is that glance route that I've wanted all along in terms of, if you're going to do this, instead of just running this as a hitch route, I want that. I want the glance route to there, and I want this against off coverage too. But they convert this because it's press. That's a good route, good throw. And when they asked him to deliver as a thrower on this drive, he does. Once again, what is 86 doing here? You get your kick out here. He has to read this correctly, and now his job is to insert, get this blocked, and this is out the gate, guys. And that's not on the offensive line. That's on the tight end. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so you got outside zone here. There's clearly some miscommunication on what this is supposed to be. Because I think if this is outside zone, this should be here and work your way up. But he takes here, and so then he's confused, and he ends up coming back here, and he takes inside. So I think this is a bust somehow, because he's coming inside, he's coming outside. Maybe he should be here. I'm a little puzzled on what, if maybe, I'm not sure what's going on here. This is a bust to me. This looks like it should be outside zone, which again should be here, 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 and here. But instead, you've got all sorts of stuff winds up crossed up. You wind up with an unblocked player here that makes the tackle. Now, give Cam credit, he hits that hard, but there's no place to go. That's the one big bust. I'm not sure actually what the call was there, because there's a bust. I don't like this call. 3rd and 7, and you're going to run a back shoulder to Morlock? Really? I don't understand. 4th and 7 here. I'm just running curls here, and they're just trying to find space. They drop 8. I don't know why they dropped 8. Now, I don't like the footwork in the pocket. He's bouncing, shuffle back, throwing, going backwards, but it's an all-arm throw, but yeah, he pulls it off, and that's a really good throw. Not a lot of space there. Puts it right on the money. The guy can throw the pill. Counter again. And, at this point, this is where I get frustrated with Norvell for sticking with the bread and butter that they've not been able to run well all game. And at this point, you're running it into the teeth of a defense that is expecting it, and you're just not running it well. I'm not going to break down even everything that went wrong there, but I don't think this was as badly called a game as I thought initially, but I do think that sticking with counter on some stuff really was a mistake. Yeah, this is just one guy misses here. This is Byers. If Byers, this is just a split zone. If Byers gets that inside shoulder and is able to hold this right here and keep him on the outside, this hits right here and it's out the gate. But because he doesn't, so I think Byers is actually expecting that he has a contained player and he's just kind of trying to seal him out. You can't guess. You got to get that and run it with that strong inside hand. And problem is he crosses himself up with his feet, winds up having his body a little bit outside, and he can't keep that hand on the inside as a result. And then that's the guy that makes the play. 4th and 8. And if you could get this from your receiver and quarterback, I don't know why you didn't do it earlier. That's my frustration. That's a really good throw and catch. It's a great job. This is how you do it. This is a good sign for the rest of the year from Benson. And that's, I don't know if it's wide receiver 1 stuff, but that's really good. Get the touchdown. Nice run. And then same stuff Florida State was running, by the way. Free stuff out here. Not bad from the corner. And these two teams are kind of mirror images of one another. Georgia Tech just did it better for 4 quarters. They're giving him gifts here, and they still don't finish it. 3rd and 7. And, I don't like this call on 3rd and 7. To me, it's a passing down. You've got these guys right here. Let them do their thing. What you cannot let happen is this guy be in man-to-man coverage against a guy that's a lot faster than him, just to bring this guy off the edge. I think that's a mistake. And what ends up happening here is Georgia Tech knows that if they get this, they've got that, and he can't run with him. He recognizes the blitz. He sees man coverage. You're not going to win over here. That's where he wants to look initially. There's nothing there. And you get to this side, and he knows it's man-to-man. I probably have Mike here. There's no shot. And that's just, you're asking a guy to do what he can't do. If they just played that as man with a robber, or with, keeping that nickel on that halfback, the game's over. You win that game. DJ, you got to make this play. Got to tackle him in the backfield. Again, 5, 6, 7 yards after contact. Florida State played like a team that had not done inside run or goal line drill all camp. And as I understand it, they really didn't. And, that showed. So, I mean, there's a lot, they're better here, but they're still, that's not good enough from your end here who's trying to spill this. He needs to hit this low and drill this back into the blocker so that you can create that pile, and you want to spill that to your second level player here. But instead, because this guy is winning here so badly, even though you're spilling it, he's still able to take it straight up field. Got manhandled by the guard there. And, this right here doesn't get called. Nobody called anything all day. It's a good job to make a tackle while being mugged by Lundy, but could be better there. It's okay. You're just doing what you can. And then you get a gift. Still, Marvin Jones Jr. still doesn't get the tackle there, but you get a gift. You're in a position where now might be an unmakeable field goal for him. All you have to do is hold the next play. And this is very simple. So all they're going to do is the same screen they've done the whole way. So what should you do? You've got contain here. Your job, what you should do, you do this every day in cat and mouse, is you want to under control, work the inside of his hip, force him towards your help and towards the sideline. Inside of the hip, stay on your feet, stay under control, and just guide him to the sideline and then make the tackle through the hip. Instead, he over pursues vertically instead of working towards that inside hip. You see that little step right there? And then he's trying to make that one-on-one tackle. Play team football. Right through here. Force him. If he's going to cut back, that's fine. You've got help. If he's going to go to the sideline, that's fine. He's got help. What you cannot do is overrun this and let him get vertical. And that's exactly what Lundy does here. And that's the difference in the football game. And Florida State gives up a loss. Honestly, there are so many things that are just straightforward that could be fixed in this game that I don't feel like this team is... there are a lot of people who are saying, oh, this is a 5-loss team or whatever. Look, they could lose that many, but this team is absolutely, I think the pieces are still there for this team to potentially win out for the rest of the year. They could. But there's so many things, so many concerning things that showed up that emerged in this game, from a lack of leadership on the defense to, in terms of not responding when they got opportunities, to some selfishness and not playing through your assignment, making sure that your eyes are on the proper keys, playing through the blocks that you're supposed to take on instead of trying to get to the ball carrier and make the tackle on your own. A lot of undisciplined play that, if that keeps up, this team could absolutely lose, 4 or 5 games. It really is a matter of that. But there's enough that I saw that this team could clean it up and become a lot of the team that most of us expected. I thought this was going to be a very tough game, but I didn't think they'd actually lose the game because I thought there'd be enough senior leadership on a team that has a lot of grown men that they wouldn't let themselves get pushed around for 4 quarters, and ultimately they'd make a couple of those plays. And frankly, they had 3 or 4 plays where if you pick up the fumble, if you make 2 throws, if you're DJ Uyunglele, then they win this game by, 14, 21 points. And then, everybody says, well, they didn't play that great, but, they still won. And they still won by a healthy margin. Georgia Tech kind of squeezed out of this the most that they could have. Florida State, they're a team that went out there and hit it well enough to shoot a 66 and wound up with a 74. And Georgia Tech went out there and shot a 69 that was a 69. And there's your game. So, yeah. Go ahead and wrap there. I'm gonna have a audio episode as well, but this is the best I can do in terms of this. So we're gonna work from there. Thanks for watching. This was the Unconquered film session for this week. Thanks for watching and listening.